Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Jess. I run a digital marketing agency, and we focus on helping female entrepreneurs to start, grow, and scale their online businesses. And part of my role here is that I am really passionate about helping women that are right now pregnant, have just had a baby, have older children, and struggle to kind of see how work is going to continue to fit into their lives. I'm passionate about helping them to find a way to have it all. So I give you a disclaimer right now before we get into the depth of this video, because I'm going to say a few things that I know some people will find highly offensive. My attitude to baby is that we appreciate his addition to our family. We love having him here. But there are certain things in my life that I said from very early on. Sorry, I still have a cold. Let me have a drink. But I've said from very early on that I'm super passionate about my business, and blood, sweat, and tears have gone into this. And there is no way that I'm going to stop working. There's no way that I'm going to pack in my business. There's no way that I'm going to take a year off just to sort my stuff out. And I believe, or I know for a fact, that there are loads of women out there that do not enjoy being a stay-at-home mum, that do not enjoy having just baby bums and dribbles to look after all day. So my very attitude is that if you want to do something else alongside having a baby, now is the perfect time to start. I'm just in the process of writing a book about building a business while you're either expecting or are a new mum. So there's going to be a course coming out later on in the year, and there possibly is going to be a membership for support and accountability. So I'm still mapping out how that's going to look. But I've realized that there's still a prevalent kind of way of thinking that as soon as you have a baby, you can't work, you can't run a business. As soon as you're pregnant, actually, you're already stupid as far as people are concerned. They go like, oh, is it baby brain? Is it baby brain? Is it baby brain? And I am starting to get super annoyed with this general attitude that, hey, if you're a mom, you're not good enough. If you're a mom, you should focus on the baby. If you're a mom, you're distracted. So part of my work that I do with ladies is to help them find a way to still have a career, to still have passion for things other than bums, dribbles, and everything that comes with baby. So there are going to be some things that I talk about that you're not going to like. If you believe that breastfeeding is the only way, if you believe that you have to devote every minute of every day to your child, if you believe that they should not ever be playing on their own, if you believe those kind of things, then I can tell you that you're not going to be probably very impressed with some of the things that I'm talking about here. So that's just a heads up. I have a degree in early years. I've worked with children for 10 years. I know that they're very capable of playing on their own. I know that playing on their own is a very critical skill that many children haven't got. So they can't problem solve. They can't resolve, challenging situations between them. They don't know how to keep themselves entertained for any length of time. Their creativity is lower because they've never had to play for themselves, because the adult is always directing it. So I've seen this from both sides. So my opinion is not based on this is just what I'm saying because I like to work and I'm justifying it by saying that this is good for children. I've actually worked with children for 10 years and then decided to have my own business and then decided to have my own child. So if you believe in the co-sleeping and all that good stuff, fabulous. But what I'm going to be talking about involves sometimes ignoring your child for a 20-minute stretch of time while they play and you're going on to do some work. So if you're totally against that, just move along. Don't bother leaving me any comments. I'm just going to delete them anyways. This is a supportive space for women who do want more, who do not see themselves as the stay-at-home mum, who cannot see a way to get back to work, who do not want to leave their baby in daycare unless, they choose to do so. So here, all opinions are respected. I respect people that, choose to bring up their child one way, but I'm just warning you that the things that I'm talking about now involve not doing everything for baby every minute of every day. And I don't want to offend anyone. So that's why I'm saying if you find this triggering, just move along. Okay, so in this video, actually I'm writing a series of blog posts. That's where this video is actually coming from, and that's where it's going to go. So I wrote a post before I had the baby to talk about the things that I did to prepare my business for maternity leave. And that post is fairly popular. I know that quite a few people have found some value in the strategies that I've shared and the background info I gave you, kind of on what I was putting in place in my business to stop things from, excuse my French, but to stop shit from hitting the fan. I kind of expected the worst and hoped for the best, or planned for the worst and hoped for the best. That's what I meant. And I can tell you 100% I am freaking glad that that's what I did, because my baby did not sleep, could not be put down, still doesn't sleep. So yeah, it's been a pretty tough year. And what I'm sharing today is part of my mission that if I can take the dairy intolerant, Velcro, you shall not put me down, baby, I will only sleep in your arms for 4 months, child, and I can still run a business at the same time, then you can too. So in this series of videos, I want to talk about the different stages that our baby went through, and I want to talk about how I kind of adjusted my business to fit in with what the baby is doing. So this video is going to be about the kind of 0 to 3 months, 0 to 4 months, maybe newborn stage. I used to call it the meatloaf stage, because to be honest, when baby's first born, there isn't an awful lot of interaction. It's a lot of you putting things into the baby, which is really important for that to happen and for you to have close time together. But there are also times where the baby's just quite happy to lie on the sofa and have a look at the shelves and all that stuff that's on it, because they're practicing their vision. They have a lot of stuff going on. So each of these stages comes with advantages as far as business is concerned and disadvantages. And that's what I want to go through in these videos. And then I want to share some tips on what I did to still be able to run my business at this stage. So, sorry, I've still got this cold. So my advantages that I found with the kind of 0 to 4 month stage was that the baby sleeps loads. So realistically, every hour and a half, I could work on my business for probably about 45 minutes, sometimes an hour and a half. And then I'd be with baby, feeding, playing for like half an hour, 45 minutes. And then baby would just hang out for a bit and I would tidy up around the house. And then he would go back to sleep and I can go back to working on my business. So in the first 3 to 4 months, I actually got a pretty decent amount of work done. Also, if you have family or friends nearby that like babies, they love newborns. They love to hold them, they love to cuddle them. They're not mobile yet, they don't try and wreck their house. So if you get people that want to come round to your house, that's a fabulous time to invite the whole family round, hand over the baby, find a quiet corner, grab the laptop and get some stuff done. And just be like, oh, while you're holding the baby, do you mind if I could just do some work? People have looked at me weird when I explained to them that I worked the day after my baby was born, but I didn't have a choice. I had to. I wanted to be honest. Like, I've done children for 10 years. To me, like, it is not as exciting as when you like hold a baby for the first time. I'm like, yep, this is a baby. Like, we got to do this. Next, he's going to do this. Then he's going to learn that. It's been very much like I know what's coming next. So I haven't got this sense of wonder. And yeah, so another advantage was that you can still have calls. So I still had sales calls, discovery calls when I had the baby with me. I had weekly team meetings with some clients while I had the baby with me. That became slightly impossible pretty much a few months down the line. And if I try to have a call now when he's around, he will just whinge and whinge and whinge until I give him, or until he can hammer on the keys of the laptop. So this changes so quickly. So appreciate the fact that right now, if you need to have calls during the day, you don't need somebody to look after the baby. You can still do it and just take the baby with you. Like, if you have clients that are women, mums, they understand 100%. Like, I've had one client who may have been a bit funny about the fact that I had the baby with me, but to be honest, I didn't really care. I didn't have childcare at that point, so what was I going to do? Like, I can't dump him over there, so he's with me. He's never actually caused a fuss though. There's very few calls where he's been difficult. The downside of this stage is that you get woken up at night every 3 hours, maybe every 4 if you're lucky. Some children by 3 months sleep for 5-6 hour stretches. My child actually went downhill between 4 and 6 months, so he woke at that point every 45 minutes all night long. That was hard, and I'll talk about that in the next video. But you know, your baby might not be like that, and then just send a thank you message to the universe, honestly. So hope for the best, but expect the worst. I prepared for being completely deranged with sleep deprivation because I quite like my sleep. I'm handling it fairly well, I think. Like, I'm still conscious, I'm doing stuff, I'm getting projects done. So I'm actually feeling okay now, and I still don't get more than 5 hours on a good day, 3 hour stretches on a bad day. So I'm 10 months down the line, no further into the sleep issue. But you really start feeling the effect of that sleep deprivation towards the end of that newborn stage. So I found that I was still coming to terms with my life having changed and me having lost my freedom. Like, I can't just, if I want to go out like right now, the baby is sleeping, I can't just like take my stuff and just head out. I have to make sure that the baby's changed, I have to get the baby dressed, I have to make sure I have the baby's milk. And by that time, it's kind of time for baby's mealtime, or it's time for the next nap or whatever. If I want to go traveling, I have to think, right, okay, so the baby has to get sorted first. So that's a big transition to go through. So combine that with hormones that are still like going completely up and down, and you starting to go into a bit of a mind fog just because every day is the same. Like, there were days where I didn't know if it was a weekday or a weekend. Like, I just got up, I went into Asana, I did whatever was on my plate as something that I'd written down as a to-do for myself, and I passed out somewhere. So I started getting into a bit of a mind fog as to what's actually happening around me. And that started taking effect towards the end of that. The first month, second month, I was coping fairly well. I was like, okay, this is going to get better. This is just a phase. This too shall pass. That became like my mantra. This is going to pass. This is temporary. But yeah, it does start to affect you. So you may be more forgetful than before. So get a notebook, get 10 notebooks, have pen and paper everywhere, because sometimes you remember things at 3 a.m. while you're changing the baby's bum. So just like bear these things in mind. My top tip for balancing business with the meatloaf stage is, the first thing is that you need to throw your conventional ideas out the window. And this is where I said that I'm going to say things in this video that if you believe that you should be a stay-at-home mum, your baby should have attention from you every minute of every day. You should be standing up at 4 a.m. holding them for 2 hours if that's what they need. If that's all you believe, then it's going to be very difficult for you to build a business at the same time. I'm sure you can still do it, but just be aware that as the baby gets older, if we're not teaching them any kind of independence, it's going to be very hard. Once they like technology, which happened very early on, 6 months, he started shouting if we were looking at the phone and he couldn't see what we were doing. So if you don't kind of put in some sort of training, it's going to get very difficult. So I threw conventional ideas out the window. My house doesn't need to be clean right now. My laundry is not as important as my business and the baby. I set my priorities, my standards super low. It was a good day if I had a shower, the baby had a bath, we all had meals, we all had milk at the time where we were supposed to, we've slept, and we're happy and nobody's died. Like, seriously. Like, my priorities were so low. But guess what? I wasn't beating myself up over the messy kitchen. I wasn't beating myself up because I didn't do the laundry. I wasn't beating myself up over the hoovering over there. I wasn't beating myself up because I didn't go to the shop. Like, we placed all these unrealistic expectations upon ourselves. And I just decided from day one that I'm not super mum. First thing I'm going to sort out is the baby. Then I'm going to sort myself. And then I'm going to sort the business. And anything else I don't give a about. Like, literally. So Monday to Friday, I pretended that I'm working. So Monday to Friday during the day wasn't the time for housework. That would be evenings or weekends, because if I had a full-time job, the baby would be in daycare, I wouldn't be at home, there would be no housework getting done. So why am I stressing myself? I also threw the conventional idea out the window that work times between 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, or at least during the day, because my work time during the day is constantly interrupted by baby, because obviously I have to pay attention to baby. And my sleep was constantly interrupted at night. So I was very tired during the day, and I wouldn't make it from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Like, I couldn't stay awake for that stretch of time because I hadn't had any cohesive period of sleep overnight. So what I did was I kind of adjusted my rhythm to the baby. So if you follow the rhythm that the baby's in, yes, you do want to teach them the difference between day and night. So at night, you want to keep things dark, you want to keep things quiet, you don't interact that much. During the day, you take them out, you make sure they get lots of daylight so they get the idea of when is it nighttime, when is it playtime. But I still had to adjust my rhythm for the baby. So what I did was If the baby got up at 6 a.m., I would entertain the baby, play with him, feed him, take him to different places around the house. So he's got different things to look at. And then when he goes back to sleep, the first nap I would work. Then he wakes up, I play with the baby, we feed, and we repeat this entire thing. Then the second nap, I would go and nap with him. So I would take him to bed with me because he slept longer if he was lying on my arm, literally. So I would lie in bed with him and have a sleep. Then we would get up, we would do bottle, we would do play. And then the next thing we would do is nap time, and I would work. So every nap, and even his nighttime sleeps, they're a little bit like naps, right? Because he still wakes every 3 hours or so. So I used to work, sleep, work, sleep, work, sleep, which meant that I had only maybe 6 hours of sleep overnight, but I had another 6 hours of sleep at some point during the day sometimes. So that really helped me to kind of keep my sanity. I know some people say by default they can't sleep when the baby sleeps, so you're going to have to make some kind of other plan to stop yourself from being completely exhausted, because you need a fresh mind to do work and problem solve in your business. So you don't want to be a total vegetable. So you've got to look after yourself somehow. So if a bath relaxes you, then have a bath. So just make sure that every second nap that baby has is you time of some sort. If that's sleep, cool. If it's relaxing in some other form, great. So that goes in line. So first of all, I threw the conventional idea out the window of when I'm working. It meant that I was working at 2 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. and then I would be sleeping from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Like, who cares? Nobody's there to judge you. You're doing the best that you can. You're rocking this thing. You're growing your own business. You're getting to be home with baby. And right now I'm in the do whatever the heck it takes stage to get through this and get your business off the ground. Everything else can be sorted. Then adjust your rhythm to the baby. Sort out the baby first. If the baby is fed, calm, well settled, has been interacted with, and is now resting and just looking around, cool. You can go and you get an extra half an hour to get work done. So find those pockets of time. Sorry, and don't waste them. So don't Facebook, take that damn Facebook app off your phone. If you waste half an hour scrolling through your newsfeed or reading on NetMums, why the heck does my baby not sleep, which is what I used to do for hours on end. Take it off your phone, put your phone away, just take that half an hour and just work. And then if you waste away 5 half an hour slots, what could you've gotten done in 3 hours? So value your time. Plan time off as well. So don't expect yourself to be working all day, every day like I did. Plan something nice to chill out. And then my last point is get help if you need it. I got somebody to help me look after the baby the first time when he was about 6 weeks old, which is down to 2 factors. The first thing is that really I did need more time to work. I did need more time to have calls. And he had he still has a dairy and soya intolerance. So he actually was in a lot of pain at that point. So he spent a lot of time screaming. And I mean, newborn, full blown, I'm in pain screaming. And it did not stop for hours on end. So I got somebody to help me for 2 mornings a week, longer mornings, to just come to my house and entertain the baby for me so I could sit there with my laptop and work or go to the next room and have a call. I chose to do that for sanity reasons because I needed a break. And at that point, I lived for the Monday and Wednesday break and the weekend because I was like, thank God, in 3 days' time, there'll be somebody else here that's going to listen to this screaming that's going to happen for hours on end every day. And I shit you not, I'm not over exaggerating. This child screamed from eyes open till bottle in and then screamed until he fell asleep. So there were literally 6 to 8 weeks where he screamed for, I don't know, every hour that he was awake. So I needed that kind of time to not go completely crazy. So it was a 2-way street that I chose to get some help with childcare. But if he'd been a very placid baby and he didn't have all these issues and his reflux and whatever not, then I probably wouldn't have needed it. But at that point, it was desperately needed. So so that's my top tips for getting through the newborn stage. Maybe I should have added another one to this list. I'm just thinking of it. Be flexible. So you will just think that on Monday, it's I finally found a routine that works for us. First we do this, then we do that, then we do that. And then suddenly the baby changes and whatever kept him entertained last week doesn't keep him entertained anymore this week. So he liked the bouncer last week. This week he hates it. So just be flexible and just try different things. What helped me an awful lot was to take him to a different room every time he woke up. So we would sit in the kitchen for a bit, and he would look around the kitchen, and it's new. There's different lights and there's different things for him to look at. Then we would go and sit in the garden next time he wakes up, and then we would go and sit in the living room, and then we'd go and sit in the dining room. It just gave him a change of scenery, and that kept him like moderately entertained anyways, because there's like different wallpaper, different lights on the ceiling. So that definitely worked a charm. But just be flexible. Babies keep changing. Newborns change every few days. And it's very irritating when you've just found something that works. You're like, yes, if he's crying, if I hold him in that way, he's not screaming, winning. And then 3 days later, that kind of magic cure just stops working. So that is life with a baby, I'm afraid. And that's not going to change for a very long time. But yeah, these are my top tips for getting through the newborn stage when you have a business to run. Your biggest obstacle to get this done is going to be you yourself, because you're going to tell yourself that you need to be a Pinterest-worthy mom. There has to be a fresh home-cooked meal on the dinner on the dinner table every night. And I have to do this, and my mother-in-law says I have to do that, and then my own parents tell me to do this, and I see people at the playground that have that, and who cares? Like, this is the time in your life where if you want to do this, unfortunately, you're going to have to make some decision on what's important to you. And I know that if you need to put food on the table and your money matters, you're going to be more inclined to do whatever the heck it takes to get stuff done. Whereas if running a business is more like a passion thing, then we often feel bad for following our passions, but don't. Like, just put judgment completely aside. Okay, dokes, so in the next video, I'm going to talk about the next stage that kind of came after that for me, and what changed, what were good things about that stage and what wasn't so good, or what was more difficult to fit in with my business. Yeah, and I hope you found it helpful. If you want to join a group, I should maybe say that, if you're looking for like a supportive group of other women that have jobs, have babies, struggle with their mental health, struggle with their physical health, but still run a business at the same time, and you want to come and join us and join the community, the group is called Crush It with Confidence. So if you go to Facebook and search it, I'm going to put the link below, but sometimes it doesn't work properly. So if you search Crush It with Confidence, come and request and join the group, and then you can be inspired and motivated by other ladies doing what you're trying to do. We also have a weekly show going at the moment that's called Crush It TV, and every Wednesday I interview a different entrepreneur. We have different topics. So in May we talked about mindset, we talked about juggling all the things in June, we talked about finance in July, then business and business systems and automation in August. So we have loads of different topics that we interview people on. I pop in live in the group loads of times and just share little tips, tricks, tools, reviews, anything that comes to my mind that I think is beneficial for you. So if that sounds like a community that you'd like to be part of, then come and join us. And I look forward to seeing you there. Bye.